All right, so welcome. Real quick, anytime I teach, anytime I host a webinar, anytime I'm talking to my lenders one-on-one, whether they're new or experienced, we always talk disclaimers. I always like to talk about things that can go wrong, right? Is private money lending a beautiful thing? Can it be a beautiful thing for a person? Absolutely. Where else can someone make a double-digit rate of return and have it secured by real estate worth much more, right? But nothing is perfect. Private money lending is no different. So one of the things that we like to do on these calls is to talk about some of the risks, to talk about how to be prepared, right, on both the borrower side and the lender side. So with me as your instructor today, just keep in mind that I'm teaching from a real estate investor's perspective. I've been investing in real estate for a while now, over 10 years. My wife and I have almost exclusively used private money lending to fund our real estate fix and flips. So I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from things that I've seen out there in the world, right? I am not a real estate agent, contractor, accountant. I'm certainly not a real estate attorney, but one of the things that I would highly recommend, and then for those of you who have gone through my accelerator course or are going to be taking it again August 12th, the very first thing that we talk about is surrounding yourself with licensed business professionals who is on your team, right? Who is, as a borrower, who's your contractor if you're fixing and flipping? Who's your property management company if you're doing rental properties? Who is conducting the closings, drafting your documents, doing your title searches? These are really important things. Who are the real estate agents that are going to be selling your houses, right? Are they in the top 1%? Are they the best of the best? I hope you're surrounding yourself with great people who know what they're doing, right? On the lending side, I'd be asking my borrowers these questions. Hey, who's your real estate attorney? Tell me about them. Why did you pick them? Who's your real estate agent? Why did you pick them? What's their track record? How long they've been in business? Who are your contractors? Tell me a little bit about what their philosophy, or how long they've been in business and what their experience is, right? So we can never get too insulated with high-level business professionals, right? So just know this. We always say, hey, make sure you're surrounding yourself with the best of the best, and it's going to help reduce the risk and help for a successful transaction. All right. So welcome to the Quickstart webinar. For those of you who are brand new, quick introduction. My name is Noah Harris. I'm a real estate investor. I live in Columbia, South Carolina. I've been teaching this Quickstart webinar for a little, this is the 22nd time. I also teach a course for a private money club called the Accelerator Program, where we take people and we fast track them with education and tools and resources to become great borrowers and to become great lenders. I have a 100% track record with my private money lenders, and that's what we want for you. That's the goal, right? Anyone that I come in contact with, I hope that you learn one thing, two things, three things, at least one thing that you can put in your tool bag to help you become a better real estate investor, to help you become a better borrower, and to help you become a better lender. Yes, a person can make great rates of return being a private money lender, but if that person loses, right, or things don't go as planned, those returns diminish. We don't want that. I hope that, I've been with Private Money Club now for a little over a year. I think those are the numbers, a little over a year. There's nothing that I would love more than to see you guys in person at a live event, maybe in Charlotte. They got one coming up in Charlotte, anywhere with Private Money Club. You come up to me and you say, Noah, guess what? I don't care how many deals you've done. I don't care how much money you've raised or whatever. What I want to know in here is 100% track record. Hey, Noah, I took your course 8 months ago. Hey, Noah, I hopped on a webinar 6 months ago with you. I learned this, and this. To this date, I've got X number of deals out there, X number of loans, 100% track record. Boom. That's what this is all about, right? I love to build relationships like that. Private money lending, you guys, is relationship based. And I've got a slide in here. I'm going to share this with you. I think might be on the next one after this. Now, all right, so if it's after this one. So if you're on this call for the first time, here's what we do. We start every day right at every Thursday right at 1 o'clock. We keep these calls real estate related. There's a lot of different sources or resources and things that you can do with money, right? There's so many different ways to make money. And sometimes on Private Money Club, there might be different types of opportunities. We keep it real estate. I'm only going to talk about things that I do, right? And I have experience in. I'm not going to ask you to do something I personally haven't done myself, right? So participation is encouraged, right? So yeah, what's up? Good to see you on here. Just type in the chat box where you're from, say hello to everybody, and let's just see who's in the room. If you are a borrower, right? Maybe you're a real estate investor, you're looking to borrow funds, type borrower in the chat box. Let's get the participation rolling here. Type borrower in the chat. Let's see what we got here. All right, cool. Hey Edie. All right, cool. Coming in, coming in, coming in. Coming in. I love to see it. Hello Angela. All right. Cool. Bo, are you guys, some of you are jumping ahead here. You already know what I'm about to ask, right? How many of you in here are a lender? Type lender in the chat box. Type lender in the chat box. And I just love this stuff. For me, it's so crazy to me because, when your friends know and people kind of know that you use private money a lot to fund your real estate deals and private money, I don't know, maybe you guys can relate. You get questions all the time and people are like, hey, I got a deal, but I need a lender. I need a lender. Do you know any lenders? And I'm like, get in Private Money Club. Get in Private Money Club, right? If you're a lender and you've got funds and you want to put them to work, I'd be interviewing borrowers, finding someone that's going to be a good fit for you. If I was a borrower, I'd be interviewing lenders, people, talking to them, right? Seeing if you want to build relationships with one another. It's not that difficult, but sometimes you got to be in the right place. The right place. The right place for money is right here in Private Money Club. We talk about elevator pitches and things like this on these calls and what to say and how to say it. In an accelerator class, I go into great detail about that. But you have to be sharing your message to the right person in the right spot. Back in the day, like before Private Money Club, I used to have to go and talk to family, friends, people, go to real estate clubs. I would be elevator pitching everyone, trying to get them excited about what private money lending is. I had to educate a lot of people about what private money lending was. Hey, did you know you can make double-digit rate of returns secured by real estate? Blah 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 blah. Right? And then hopefully that person was interested, and I kind of had to go down that route. In this Private Money Club and the platform here, everybody already knows what private money lending is. So there's no like explaining the idea of lending or borrowing on real estate as an individual, because everyone in here understands it, right? At least to some level, which is cool. How many of you are currently in Private Money Club? If you're in Private Money Club, say I'm in the club. Type I'm in the club in the chat box. Let me know if you're already in. If you're in the club. All right, cool. If you're not in, yeah, let's see. We got them coming in here. Premier, love it. Premier, love it. So Private Money Club has two different options. And this is a lesson, I think. Like, I'm giving you guys some insight. Like, it has two different options. Like, you can go free, create a profile, right? Poke around a little bit. Some limitations in there, I believe, on messaging capabilities and things like that, right? Nothing wrong with that, right? Mike says, hey, I got the free version. All right, cool. Poke around. Do what you got to do. But when you're serious about this, it's next to nothing. It's maybe a couple $1,000. I don't know. I don't even know what $1,500 to join Private Money Club as a premier member. And I'm telling you, I think a person's going to see the difference, right? If I was working with, as a borrower, let's just go borrower shoes. If I'm a borrower and maybe I post a message in the forum about some deals, I'm probably going to pick someone when it's all said and done that's a premier member. I don't know. It just is what it is, right? And if I'm a lender and I'm looking around, I'm like, all right, who am I going to lend my money to? I'm probably going to pick someone that's a premier member as well. Right. I want to make sure that they got some, they're real serious about their investments, their education, things like this. I don't know. I just feel like it's a little difference maker. So if you are ready, I would leapfrog, right? The guys can help you out with this. Jose and the team can help you out with this. It's all good, right? So, but here's what's cool. We've got a bunch of borrowers. We've got a bunch of lenders on this call. Right. So this is a great networking opportunity, guys. Right. It's a great place to meet people, at least to start having conversations with folks. All right. If you have any questions, the Q&A box is the best place for that. If there's a question, I can actually see and kind of sort it better. I see there's a few already now. Let me see if I can get to them here. I might have to unshare my screen to see those questions. What I do with questions, if it's a question that I think the whole group would benefit from, I'll answer it right away. If it's a question that's very specific to the person who asked its needs, like a deal or something like that, I'll probably just say, hey, hang out at the end if you can, and I'll speak with you more one-on-one, and we'll do it that way. All right, cool. All right, awesome. PMC team is in the chat. What's up, Jose? What's up, Nick? If you guys have any questions, there's the link. Book a call. These guys are great. They'll give you a little demo if you're hopping on here for the first time and you want to see what the platform's about and how it works. That's what these guys are great at, right? And if you want some help one-on-one with me, I would be glad to help you guys one-on-one, and we do that through our accelerator program. What's up, Annette? Good to see you on here. The things we work on this call, we're going to work on some of these here today. Number one is credibility, right? Credibility. I meet people all the time who I think, in my eyes, like, oh my gosh, this is the most credible person. Like, you have a profession, maybe it's not real estate, but you've been a doctor for 20 years, you've been a dentist for 20 years, or whatever, wherever your background is in. Wow, that's a pretty credible profession, right? But they get hesitant to lend, they're hesitant to borrow to do real estate deals because they've never done it before. So one of the things we work on these calls is building up your confidence through credibility. And we also build up a person's confidence through clarity. Like, how does this work, right? So every single week we practice some fundamentals. We get sharp at that, what to say, how to say it, right? And then we start to build upon that. So the first 20, 30 minutes of this hour-long call, we're going to be working on fundamentals, kind of like we are now. Second half, we usually pick a topics, a couple different things to talk about, to give you some tools for your toolbox, right? And community is awesome. So if you're on this call, you haven't said hi yet, here's what I found with Private Money Club. They have so many different webinars, so many classes, so many different ways for people to get together in person and online. It seems as though when names become familiar, when you all participate, like, this is a community, right? But you don't want to be just standing like a wallflower, hanging out in the corner, just watching, right? No one's going to know who you are, right? So say hi. If you're on these calls every week, I know who you are. I see your names. Think about it. If I'm a lender and I've seen you on my calls, I'm like, oh yeah, I recognize that person. I definitely want to have a one-on-one conversation with them, right? Doesn't that make sense? So it's a community. You're going to get out of it what you put into it. All right. Those are some advice I got for you guys. So how are we going to get better at this? We're going to work out. We're going to practice. We're going to practice this stuff. And we're going to make moves. So every single week I give you things to do. Okay. So we've done this 22 times, 23 next week, right? So here's what I tell folks: pick one or two of these bullet points and put it on your calendar. Take action. Don't just hop on the webinar and say, oh, I learned a lot today. I know what it's called, but I'm not going to implement it. Maybe I'll implement something next week. No, pick something right now, right? So practice the fundamentals, which we're going to go over here in a minute. Schedule an appointment with Jose or Nick or one of the team members, right, to see what's going on with Private Money Club and how they can help you. Attend next week's call, right? Put it on your calendar at least. It's easy to do that, right? If you haven't created a Private Money Club profile yet, go do it. If you're hopping on the call for the first time and you're like, I'm Private Money Club, like I can create a profile. Yeah, go do it. Go create a profile, right? Go start free, then leapfrog once one of the guys or girls gives you a demo, right? And then enroll, or you could enroll in our accelerator course, which starts August 12th, which is awesome. Yeah, I love it. Here's Amy. Hey, borrower in St. Louis, we pay 12%. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, where else can someone put their money to work at 12% and have it secured by an asset that's worth more than the loan amount, right? And Amy has an opportunity there that's kind of like a set it and forget it. She says it's going to be around 5-year term. That's a pretty cool opportunity for someone, right? And, if you want to get great at borrowing funds and lending money, like, we got to become good at solving problems. Right? Solving problems. So as Amy's having conversations and meeting people, like, how many conversations has Amy had with someone that has their money in a CD or has money sitting in a checking account? They don't know what to do with it, right? How many conversations are you having where it's like, hey, tell me how your money's working for you right now? Oh, it's at 6%, 4%. I got a high yield savings account, 4%. Oh, okay. How would you like to make 12? Is that interesting to you? What did you just do there? You solved that person's problem of having their money stuck in a low interest route, like low interest account. Like, hey, we can do better than this. Let's talk. Let's see if it's a good fit for everybody, right? So let's become great at solving problems. Good job, Amy, for putting it out there. I love it. All right, cool. Here we go. So if you're hopping on, I found this slide pretty interesting. This what if you might some of you might recognize this. In Private Money Club, there is a course. There's like a certification course that you can take. I'm pretty sure, fingers crossed, I think it's free, right? Like if you're a premier member right now, Jose, slap me on the wrist if I'm wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure if you're a premier member, you can take a borrower course and a lender course if you're brand new to this. Like many of you, that at least people I've met are like, you're not like a real estate person per se. Like you have another career, but you heard private money lending was awesome, right? Maybe you have a infinite banking policy set up with Chris and the money multiplier team, and they're like, hey, you should check this out as a way to put that money to work, right? So what Private Money Club did is they have these courses inside that are really good foundational classes for you to take to have a good understanding of what you're doing, right? Which is important, isn't it? So private money lenders, let's talk about this. What are the different types of opportunities for real estate investors to get funding for deals, right? So in the video, I snapshotted this screen from Andrew's videos. Number one, traditional banks. And by the way, guys, you are going to get this a lot. So if you're on this call and you're a borrower and you're having conversations with people about becoming private money lenders, you will have that family member, you will have that friend, you will have that person that you're in the same sailboat with at sailing camp. Just using that crazy example because my wife, if you just logged in, there was a case study that I just shared with you guys where Christy was using your elevator pitch and met a private money lender at the Women's Sailing Club, right? So wherever you're having these conversations, people are going to ask, hey, let me ask you a question. Why would you pay 12%? Why would you pay 10%? Why not just go to a bank? Why not just go to a bank? Banks have lower interest rates, right? Banks have, longer repayment terms, right? Why not just go to a bank? Well, most of the time, the traditional banks, if I'm doing a fix and flip, the traditional bank doesn't necessarily want to lend on a house with foundation issues, or that has boarded up windows, right? Or that you walk in, you have to immediately walk back out because it smells so bad. Banks don't want that on their books, right? They're not in that type of lending business, right? There's a slower, even if you do get the money, it might be a slower approval process. And as real estate investors, we want to be able to make decisions fast, right? On the other side of that, there's hard money lenders, right? Hard money lenders, that's what they do. They lend on real estate, right? They focus on the asset. They're looking at fix and flip loans. This is what they do, right? But they might have much steeper rates, right? And they might say, hey, look, we understand this house is worth 200. We'll give you 120, and you got to come up with the rest, right? Or they just might have more red tape. For me, it's the fees, right? For me, it's the fees. So we just did a deal, closed this week. We bought a house on the lake that we're fixing and flipping. I've been watching way too much Lakefront Bargain Hunters. Do you guys watch that show? Lakefront Bargain Hunters on I'm gonna sound like such a dork, on the Magnolia Network. Do you guys, anybody else watch the Magnolia Network? Am I the only weirdo that watches Lakefront? Okay, all right. Mary's obsessed. Mary, thank you, Mary. So that's been my summer show. We ended up buying a lake house. We borrowed $675,000 to do this deal. It's going to be $1 million home. If I were to go to a hard money lender for those funds, I might have to pay 2 or 3% in fees just to do the deal. That's not even, I probably wouldn't have even gotten that much funding and things like that, right? So what, 3% of $675,000, it's a lot of money, right? That's cutting into our profits. So that's why I just love working with the private money lenders. Number one, I love the relationships, right? I love the flexibility. And when I called one of my lenders, I have 2 lenders on this deal, and a hard money fund probably would have wanted 12, 13%, maybe a little bit more. And I definitely wouldn't have gotten all the funds that I needed for the purchase and the acquisition. But with my private money lender, what was cool is I have one person doing 525 and another person doing 150. All right, so we have 2 different lenders, 2 different positions. And the lender that the private lender that lent the 525, I believe that's what it was, 525. She came to me and she's like, hey, no, I know normally we do 10%, but this is a lot of money, a little bit more than what we usually do. Would you be willing to do 11? Right? So it was personalized. We're working together. We're talking on the phone, right? We're negotiating, and I understand where she's coming from. I'm running my numbers, and I say, hey, you know what? Absolutely, I can do 11%. No problem, right? Which is super cool. All right, good. I'm glad there's a lot of other people that watch the Lakefront Bargain Hunters on the Magnolia Network like me. All right, thank you guys. You're my people, all right? So you're starting to see the differences here, guys. So as you start having conversations with folks outside, that's why in Private Money Club it's so easy, because people understand why you're there. But if you're having these conversations with new folks or family, friends, how many of you on this call right now know someone that should be a private money lender, but they don't know it yet? You're like, that person would make an awesome private money lender. I got to figure out what to say to them and to get, because I feel like I could really help them. How many of you have someone in mind that would make a great private money lender, but that person might not know it yet? Say, that's me in the chat box. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Okay, Sherry does. Christine does. Cool. So this is something I would kind of practice a little bit, right? If this is you, because they might ask you, hey, why don't you just go to a bank? Hey, why don't you use your own cash, right? What do you say if they ask you that one, right? What's your business model, right? I know a couple people so far, no takers. All right, be consistent too. Be consistent too. Like, especially in your circle. What I like about Private Money Club is people are already kind of knowledgeable, they're in it. Sometimes your family and people close to you might be your toughest sale, Lucy. They might be the hardest. You know what I mean? They might be the hardest. Where do you find a private? I love this question. Where do you find a private money lender? Brenda asks. Brenda, everywhere you look. Everywhere you look. I would start with Private Money Club because it's simple, it's easy. That's what they do, right? But what I do is, as I start coaching you guys, and if for those of you who take the accelerator class, you've heard me say this before. When I see someone, it's a gift and a curse, because I truly believe that through my real estate investing business, that I can help people make money on their money. Anytime I meet someone and we get to know one another, I'm like, hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, I do this, I do this. Oh, well, my mind instantly goes to, I can help this person with their income goals. They don't know it yet. How could I do that? By having them become one of my private money lenders, right? So I would start with the Private Money Club, start educating yourself, and then just know that the opportunity is out there. Let me ask you a question, guys. For everybody listening, how many of you, who could be a private money lender? This is a question for you. Who could be a private money lender? Who could be a private money lender? Anyone can. Anyone can, right? I love it. I love it. And I think you just met 50, right? Scroll up the list. Scroll up the list. Who could be a private money lender? Yeah, anybody could, right? Anybody could. But that doesn't mean you just go out there and do it.
Your real estate business lives and dies by the network and the connections that you make. I mean, after all, your network, well, it's your net worth. That's what you always heard, right? If that's an area where you desire improvement, well, Private Money Club, it's for you. PMC saves you precious time and money by bringing the real estate world, well, right to you, right in the palm of your hand. So get in on the action, like so many others have, by going to privatemoneyclub.com and sign up.
Okay, we got to get educated. We got to know what we're doing. And I'll be very transparent with you guys. I like teaching this stuff because I actually had friends who lost or came darn close to losing money as private money lenders. And so it really bothered me. And they came to me and said, Noah, this was supposed to be 12-month loan. It's been 16 months. Can you help? What do I do? And I'd ask them, hey, did you have this document here? And they said, no, we didn't do any of that stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh. Did you ask them this question before you wired the funds? No, I didn't even think to ask that. And it's like, you want to shake them and you'd be like, why did you do that? Like, well, they were giving me 15% interest. So, I thought it would all work out. On Facebook, they looked like they were worth $1 million. And that's not how we do things, right? So I love educating and helping people because I truly believe that this is a great thing and a great way to do it. All right, cool. So let's practice some fundamentals. Okay. This is great. If you're just logging in for the first time, the whole goal with these next 4 slides is, this is something that we practice every week. The whole goal for practicing this every week is to help it become subconscious. So if you're talking to someone and they ask you, hey, tell me, what is a private money loan? You can say right out of the gate. You don't have to stop and think about it, right? So just like we blink without thinking about it, we breathe without thinking about it, we're going to be able to explain and do an elevator pitch about what private money lending is without having to think too much about it. All right, that's the goal here. So what is a private money loan? It's a loan secured by real estate, just like a bank, just like a bank. Those 4 little words should be on your wall above your desk, maybe in your mirror with a Post-it note, get a tattoo on your arm, just like a bank, just like a bank. Yeah, okay. Everything's an acronym. We can make one for sure. So here's, if I'm explaining this to someone, right, for everyone there that just said, hey, I know someone that make a great private money lender, but they don't know it yet. This is what I would do. I would go to them. I would say, hey, have you ever bought a house? Yes. Okay, great. When you bought that house and you went to the closing, the attorney handed you a stack of papers, right? And you had to spend an hour signing those papers. They're going to say, yes. Okay, great. So you promised to pay back the loan. You signed something saying you're going to pay back the loan. Yes. You got a mortgage. Yes. Before you went and started signing, you called the insurance company and you got set up with insurance, right? Yes. Okay. Everything that you did for your house, we do for our lenders. So just like you did for Wells Fargo, we're going to do for you. So we treat you just like a bank, right? And we're going to get into those documents here in a minute, right? On the flip side of this, if you are a lender, if you're a lender and you're like, gosh, you know what? I gotta get the word out about how I'm a private money lender. Who can I lend to that's gonna help me create that 100% track record that I'm looking for, and who's gonna pay me great interest, and who's gonna make a great relationship for us to do this with? I would go out and I'd start finding real estate investors in your area or on Private Money Club that have been using hard money lending. Right? The more conversations you have, guys, the more choices you have. Let me say that again. The more conversations you have, the more you're messaging people on the Private Money Club platform, the more you're talking to folks on the phone and figuring out and meeting people, the more choices you have. Isn't that great? As a borrower, if I post a deal on Private Money Club, I might get 6 or 7 people within 24, 48 hours. I'm speaking from my experience here, that are like, hey, I'm interested. I'm gonna say, okay, great. Let's set up a time to talk. I want to know about you, what your goals are, your experience level. Like, let's talk. Let's meet one another. Let's have coffee, right? Figuratively or literally. And then I'm gonna figure out, okay, like, which of these 7 people can I see myself working with? I have choices. But I have friends who aren't in Private Money Club, and they come to me all the time, and they're like, hey, I need some funding. And what do? They go to the first hard money lender that says yes, and then they get raked over the coals in fees and interest, right? They didn't have any choices. They had one choice because they're not having these conversations with people. Now, if I was a lender, I would find good real estate investors in the community. Maybe if you're outside of Private Money Club, maybe you go to a local real estate investor association, maybe go to a PMC event like the Money Tank. I would say to them, hey, I would ask around, hey, who has a good reputation here and has a good amount of deal flow, does deals, has a good amount of good reputation, right? And see where you get directed and start having conversations with those folks. And I'd ask them, hey, how are you funding your real estate deals right now? Can I ask you a question? How are you funding your real estate deals right now? Well, I'm using a hard money lender. Oh, you are? Okay, great. Do you mind me asking like how much interest you're paying? Oh, I pay 13%. Oh, wow. Okay, you pay 13%. Would you be interested in working with someone like me, an individual, if you only had to pay 12? And if someone's never used private lending before, remember the 4 little words apply to you too, just like a bank. Hey, I'm just like a hard money lender. Hey, I'm just like a bank in that, I require a mortgage, a promissory note, insurance, things like this, like, just like a bank, right? So you're opening people's eyes to the possibilities of working with you. Right? So what is a private money loan? A loan secured by real estate, just like a bank. Private lending 101. If you lend this much, make sure the asset's worth this much. All right? If the asset's worth this much, we're not going to lend this much. Right? We're going to lend this much. right? So what's great about private money lending, our funds are secured by real estate, right? What secures them? That's coming up on the next slide. So the next step here, guys, is to practice the fundamental of figuring out what you're going to charge or what you're willing to pay, right? So if you're talking to someone, say private money lending, it's a loan secured by real estate, just like a bank. The next floor in your elevator is going to be, we pay anywhere from, right? And what are you willing to pay? What have you figured this out yet? What makes sense in your business model? For us, is we pay anywhere from 8 to 12% annualized interest. Each loan opportunity is unique. I like to give a variance there. Hey, each loan opportunity is unique. What I found is if I say 8 to 12, usually people think, okay, 12%, right? And they get excited about that, right? It kind of kills me sometimes, guys. On Private Money Club, there's enough funds and people out there, people who are excited about this, people who are lending and want to be lenders, where I feel like you don't have to go super high with what you're paying people. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Just my opinion. You know, if someone's promising a high percentage, in my mind, I'm like, okay, that seems crazy. Why is this person going so high, right? As lenders, you got to make sure you know what to say, how to say it, do some due diligence, know some good questions to ask to filter out what's going to be a good option for you and what might be a little bit more risky, right? And these are things we talk about in our accelerator course. As a lender, you got to figure out as well what you're going to charge. A lot of what I charge versus what I pay and things like this is all about negotiations and just having conversations with people. I don't know about you, but I would much rather as a lender put my money to work with someone that I feel really confident in. And I'm still making a double digit, but I feel, confidence, ability to follow through, things like this. That's the most important thing, right? Track record, track record, track record, track record. All right, so what we provide. So there's more to this than what's listed here. But from a conversation standpoint, if we're talking to folks, right, and we're having conversations, or for those of you who have Private Money Club profiles, I would absolutely put in your profile these 4 items here of what you provide if you are a borrower. And if I were a lender, I would absolutely put in my profile, these are the things that are kind of like my minimum. This is like the standard. My lending policy is I want these 4 things. Okay, that's important. This is what helps attract the right type of opportunities and people, I think, right? So what do we do? Number 1, we provide a promissory note. The promissory note is a contract, all right? And you might get this a lot. So I just did a deal with a family member, and it was a lot for them to put their money to work. Like, this was a person who I have a high respect for, a highly regarded person in my family. He's my uncle. He just married my aunt. And he's an amazing guy, worked hard, save. He was from Cuba, right? You guys follow me? Did anybody have anyone in their family, like their family member, maybe it was your father or grandfather or something, and they're just save. No credit, don't over leverage. Am I the only person here? You guys know what I'm talking about? My wife's father is a farmer. He's the same way, like money in the freezer, type of thing. So for my uncle to finally say, hey, you know what? I think I want to do this. That was huge. It was huge. As we get to the closing, I'm using terms like promissory note, mortgage. Hey, no problem, George. We give you a promissory note. We give you a mortgage. We give you a personal guarantee. We list you on the insurance, just like a bank would want. In his mind, he wanted to hear the buzzword contract. Okay, he wanted to hear contract. He's like, "Where's the contract?" Right? And I had to tell him, "Hey, look, the promissory note is the contract, right? I'm going to sign it. It outlines the terms, how we're going to pay you back, when we're going to pay you, how it's all going to go, interest rates, all of that." And then once that clicked, he's like, "This is awesome. I can't wait to do the next one." Right? So think contract when you see these documents. If someone's like, "Hey, where's the paperwork?" Right? Because this isn't a handshake deal if you're doing it right. Next thing on the list there is the mortgage or deed of trust, right? This secures the loan with the real estate. And then these get recorded by the real estate attorney at the county, right? Public records. Some counties, this gets recorded within 24 hours. It's done online. Some you may have to send the paperwork in, but we got to make sure that these items are getting recorded in public record, right? So if they go to sell the house, refinance the house, it shows that there's a lien on the property, you guys, and that's what makes private money lending so great. I love bragging to our lenders that we provide these documents just like a bank would want, right? Because you know, think about it. If you're gonna, lots of people have the idea of lending funds or have lent money before, and you know, maybe they had like a promissory note, but that's it. Or maybe there wasn't even any paperwork done. That probably didn't end up good, right? So what we're doing here is giving the person collateral. So hey, look, if I don't make a payment, you can foreclose on the property, right? We can give you the keys essentially, right? I always do a personal guarantee as well. And I believe that if I'm going to be borrowing funds from a person, if someone's going to take their retirement account and do a promissory note and a mortgage to help me fix and flip a house, the least I can do is provide them with a personal guarantee on top of all the other paperwork. All right. And then insurance, right? Just like a bank would want, we're going to list them on the insurance as well, right? Just like you would your bank. So is this good stuff? Hey, if you're logging on for the first time, are you happy that you did? Are you guys learning stuff? Let me see some action in the chat here. Let's see what we got. And if you got any questions at all, guys, Jose is there as well. Jose can help navigate, schedule a call for you, give you a demo, show you what the Private Money Club platform is all about, things like this. I'm going to stop my share real quick and hit the questions. All right, cool. I need a private money loan for a fix and flip in Texas. Who can I talk to about this? Ron, are you in the Private Money Club? So I'll show you on the next couple of slides kind of what I do to attract people to my deals, Ron. So hang tight and I will be able to help you out with that. Is the PMC mobile app up and running? I haven't been on the calls in the last week or two, Francisco, so I don't want to give you any false information here, but what I can tell you is that Private Money Club 3.0 is rolling out soon and it's going to be incredible. And I think Chris or Steven is better to answer that call or to answer that question in regards to a mobile app. Is there a group we can join to start connecting with lenders and such that will help someone like me that wants to get started? Hey, Chastity, you're in the right place. Private Money Club, create a profile. Is the $1,500 one-time fee or yearly? I believe it is yearly, Seth. Great question. What's the range of amounts people lend or borrow? I want to start somewhere and build up. That's a great question. Dan, I love that question. That is awesome. Thank you so much for asking that question. Here's what I would say. So Dan asked this question. He said, hey, you know, maybe I meet a lot of people that say, hey, I got smaller amounts. Noah, you just mentioned 600, 500. You know, what about like someone that's got like 50 grand or less? And that's pretty common, right? So a lot of people that come through Private Money Club have, you know, the infinite banking policy set up. They're becoming their own banks and they're building up their bank, right? So you got to start somewhere. As a borrower, Dan, I would never say no to money. I think you'll also find in Private Money Club that there's different opportunities at different levels. You know, for instance, the lowest amount I've ever borrowed was, I believe, $10,000. It was a family member, and so I was excited for them to want to put their money to work. And what I did is I had one loan in first position that took care of most of the costs of the acquisition of the house and the renovation costs, and then I did a second position with that person, right? And they had a smaller amount. So I don't think it's a matter of, you just got to start having the conversations with folks, right? And as your money grows, as your bank builds up, you're going to see that their opportunities will continue to be there. 10 years ago, around about, one of our very first private money lenders started out with 50,000 with us. And we found ways to put her money to work. And she's actually the person who this week lent the 525,000. So it was really cool to see the transition. So if you're a borrower on here, I would never say no to money, right? It's just about finding the right opportunity. And as a lender wanting to put money to work, you just got to get in Private Money Club and start talking to people, seeing the opportunities, hitting up the Money Club Mondays and things like that, and building relationships with people, which is pretty cool. All right, I hope that helped. hope that helped. Jennifer said, should we take the course and get certified before we start the accelerator program on the 12th? Yeah, so if you take the certifications, Jennifer, that are on Private Money Club, I'll show you. I'll pull it up here in a minute. I'll show you what it looks like. It's only going to help you. It's only going to help you. There's things that Andrew teaches in that class where it's like, oh, that was good. So it's like 3 to 4 minute clips in each module, and each module might have like 3 or 4 different sessions. So it's you know, so you don't have to like be glued to your computer. You can hop in, hop out. I would absolutely take it if you have the time beforehand. It's only going to be a springboard for you when you take the accelerator on the 12th. All right. Edie said, hey, you know, lender title policy and a title policy, what's the difference? The lender, you're going to be the beneficiary of that for the lender's title policy, and then the title policy, the normal one that we would always get would be for us, right? So you're covering yourself, and your lender's making sure that they're covered too. All right. Cool. A couple questions here, and then we're going to dive back into the slide, guys. We've got 14 minutes. What about Canadians investing in the USA? I just got a mobile home park under contract in Texas, off market, great deal, undermanaged. I don't see a problem with that. I don't see a problem with that. Great. Okay, cool. All right, let's dive back into it. So here we go. So this is kind of what I forgot who was asking the question in regards to the borrower certification. So what's cool about this, like this is a course. I'll go into here. I'll just show you where you find it. You go into here, you go into courses, right? And you can see the different courses that PMC has. Like speaking of mobile homes, my wife teaches a mobile home investing course. You can learn about the money tank, which I don't know if they've made the announcements yet, but the location is awesome. This is the bus tour that they do. And then here we have the borrower certification. So if you click on this, and what's cool is you can tell people that, like, if you take the borrower certification, that's a great place to start, where you can talk to, when you're talking to the lenders, you can say, hey, you know, just so you know, I've gone through the borrower certification, I've gone through the lender certification as well, and it's pretty cool. So, and then each course has videos as well. Like this is the introductory course, right? Just talking about what to expect, nothing crazy there. But you know, it took me. I'll show you a little trick here. It took me like not that long to complete all of them, because what I do is, and maybe this will help you, especially if you're on a time budget here. So if I click play, so I'm going to come down here to this little gear thing, and then I'm going to speed it up, and I do like 1.5 or 1.75, and it goes a little quicker, right? So if something that you're like, hey, I think I know a little bit about this already, like cool, just go through it faster. But if you're like, hey, I really want to make sure I get this information, then you just go normal, and I don't know, kind of cool. And then every module has a quiz, and then we do like a final borrower quiz at the end in order to be able to have that little mark next to your profile that you completed it, right? Which is cool. So that's neat, right? All right, cool. What else we got here? All right, next slide. Again, we're in the fundamentals here, guys, but this is important. I know you might be like, Noah, what, you know, this is what's going to help you stay safe. It's also going to help you stand out. So we want to make sure that, you know, when we have the mortgage, when we have the promissory note, you know, what makes private money lending great? It's recorded. Your money's secured by collateral that's worth much more, right? You follow me? We want to make sure that this paperwork, the mortgage, the promissory note, things like that are done by licensed professionals. So for us here in South Carolina, our real estate attorney handles all of that, right? So you just want to make sure if you're lending, ask the question, hey, who's going to be drafting this? Am I responsible to go get this figured out? Like, do you have someone? What is this? What is the process that you take your lenders through? Because the last thing we want is to have a borrower typing up their own, or for us as lenders having to type up our own, because there might be something state specific. There might be something, gosh, I didn't even think about that. You're not an attorney, right? Unless you're an attorney that practices this every single day, like you don't want to be messing around with this, right? So make sure that all the documents are prepared and recorded by licensed business professionals, right? Which is cool. All right, Renetta. Okay, cool. Renetta says, hey, I'm trying to get into the accelerator course. I'm already a member. My email keeps bouncing back. Can you direct me to someone? Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Let me see. Jose. Yeah, Jose just raised his hand. Jose is on the chat. Maybe he'll post a link. Maybe he'll message you directly, and you can speak directly with one of the team members about that, Renetta, and we'll get you taken care of for sure. Thanks for asking that. All right, cool. Here we go. Next slide. All right, and I would get great at this, guys. I would get great at this. Where else can a real estate investor borrow all the money that they need to fund a real estate deal without having to go to a bank? If I was a lender, I'd get great at saying that. I'd get great at saying that. As you start having conversations with people, transitioning them from using their own cash, transitioning them from having to go to hard money lenders, or transitioning them from not taking action to being in a place where they can take action with you as their lender, that's a great one-liner to just get people excited about this, to kind of wrap up your elevator pitches. If I'm on the borrower side, hey, where else can a person put money to work at a great interest rate and have that money secured by an asset that's worth much more? Think about that, guys. Right? If someone were to buy, it's crazy. Hopefully you guys are tuning into a lot of the other webinars that this company does. I feel like every single day they do something, right? Whether it be a webinar, streaming through Facebook, or something along those lines, where they just do such a great job of educating people about money in general, right? And stuff that just simply isn't taught to us in grade school, high school, or college, And so I just think this is so cool. So like if you can start educating people, take the things that you're learning and practice teaching people. Some of my best borrowers and some of my best lenders, rather, are folks that they didn't even realize that they could do this, So get in there, start having conversations. This is a relationship-based business, and the more relationships you have, the more options you have. Okay, so I encourage you guys, if you haven't yet, create a profile and get in there and start making it happen. Oh, look at the summary. I always like to see what AI thinks are the most important takeaways. All right, cool. So I forgot who was asking about this. Hey, I need money. What should I do? This is my little system that I do when I have a deal and I want to post it in Private Money Club. This is what I do to help for me to get results. I can't guarantee that you're going to get the same result, but I give you some ideas of what I do, right? So if I have a deal that needs funding, I post the deal in Private Money Club, right? There's actually an area where you can post your transaction. And then I post my opportunity in the forum. So there's a public forum, and then there's like a deal section, okay? Now, when you post, make sure that you have like a good, what we call a call to action. Like, what do you want people to do once they're interested, right? What do you want them to do once they're interested? And what's cool about the posting a deal and posting in the forum as well is you can add, your deals rather, you can add attachments to those deals. So if you have a presentation, you can add the presentation. If you have a flyer, you can add a flyer. If you have your repair estimate, you can add your repair estimate. You can add documents to that so people can check out your deal at like another level, peel back the onion a little bit more, right, on what you got going on. But for my calls to action, what I like people to do when I post a deal is I actually send them to a website. I have a website. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe your call to action is, hey, call this number right now, send me a text message. Hey, message me on Private Money Club, shoot me an email. Let's set up a time to talk, right? So the only thing that you're selling on when you post a deal or you post in the forum is the next step. What do you want people to do next? I want you to call me so we can talk about it. Okay, cool. For me, I like to send people to my website because my website, I actually talk a little bit more about my company, talk about our process, and I just kind of get people's mind right of what it's like to work with us prior to us talking on the phone. And then what people do is they schedule time on my calendar. I've tried to automate it as much as possible, so I'm not having to do a lot of back and forth. What I like about my little setup here and how I leverage Private Money Club is people check me out, and they go to the website, they read all about it, they watch a couple of videos, they schedule their own time on the calendar, and then I get an email that says, oh, so-and-so wants to talk to you next week at 8:30. Like, oh, okay, cool. Now all I got to do is just show up at 8:30 on the phone, and we start to get to know one another and seeing if it's going to be a good fit, right? So someone said, hey, how do I find the private money lenders? This is how I do it within Private Money Club, right? Which is pretty cool. All right, cool. Terry Garrett, Jose, Terry's going to take, Terry, Jose is going to take great care of email support. Terry is actually a good friend of my wife and I's down here in South Carolina. That guy finds more deals than he knows what to do with. And he's a great resource, an awesome real estate investor, and would make a great member to Private Money Club, 1,000% over. So what's up, Terry? Good to see you on the call, my man. All right, guys. Well, any questions, type them in the chat. I'm going to check the Q&A section real quick just to make sure I got everything. All right, here's a question. I think I get this one a lot. Does it matter if the attorney practices in the state where the property is being purchased? Also, do you have an LLC in that state where you're lending to a particular property or borrower? That's a great question, Abby. Let me tell you what I do, Abby, and then you can kind of figure out what might be best for you. I don't want to say what's best for you because I'm not a real estate attorney, but I will tell you kind of like what I do. Doesn't matter if the attorney practices in the state where the property is being purchased. I would prefer that if I was the lender, that the paperwork that's being drawn up is being drawn up by the real estate attorney that's familiar with those state laws. My wife and I invest in North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, and Virginia. 99% around about is primarily in South Carolina. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any lenders that we work with that are actually from South Carolina. So most of my lenders live out of state. What I do in my business as a real estate investor is I have a team that I work with. I do all my closings with the same company, same real estate attorney, same paralegal, and we have a nice little flow system, and they have great customer service. So what I do is if I was talking to Abby, I'd say, hey, Abby, you want to fund this deal? She says yes. I'll say fantastic. I would type up an email that has all the loan information, Abby's information, my information, everything that we talked about, and I would email my real estate attorney, and I would say, hey, so and so, we have a new private money lender for the deal at such and such address, right? And by the way, like if there's a property that we're buying, I'm going to turn in my contract. I'm going to create a new order with my real estate attorney. They're going to start title work. So they're going to have a file for this property, right? So they're already working on making sure the title's good and everything. And then, so I'm going to let them know, hey, here's her information. By the way, I've CC'd her on this email so you guys can open up communication. We need a mortgage. We need a promissory note with a personal guarantee. And we want it done at least 72 hours prior to closing so that Abby can review it. And they're going to say, fantastic. So what I do, Abby, is I try to find a good team here for my lenders. And so as if you're a lender, and I'm assuming you are, is you start talking with borrowers, I try to understand what their process is for their closings. Do they have a real estate attorney there that they recommend that can help you get those documents done, so on and so forth. So the attorney is also going to probably have you sign something that acknowledges they're representing us in the closing and they're representing you in the drafting of your paperwork, right? So as I like to do that to make your life easy. And then if Chris Naugle was here, Chris Naugle would say, okay, that might be good, but I might have my attorney do it. Or at a bare minimum, I would have my attorney review what the attorney down in South Carolina drafted, right? I hope that answers your question. And do you have an LLC in the state where you're lending to a particular, from a lender's perspective, I don't know if I want to answer that. I when I'm buying, I've never lent into a different state, so I can't answer that from an experience point of view. But we have invested in other states. So when we go to invest in other states, like as far as flipping and buying properties, we register as a foreign entity within that state. So each state might have its own laws. So I would recommend checking out what that might be. All right. Did someone on your team confirm the certification courses are free to premium? Yeah, I don't know yet. I gotta find that out, Fern. I gotta find that out. Certification courses, maybe that window closed. But if you are a Premier member, maybe are they free? I gotta figure that out. I don't want to make any promises I can't keep. All right, cool. All right, guys, it's 2:02. I gotta sign off. I hope you have a great week. Happy investing. Document your wins. If you made a conversation with someone, celebrate that. If you got a deal funded, celebrate that. If you made an offer on a property, celebrate that. Let's talk about it next week and celebrate all these little wins, because that's what keeps the big ones within our grasp. All right. They are free. Okay, there we go. They are free for Premier members. So maybe there's an issue there with being able to take it, or maybe you just need to log in if maybe you're not logged in or something like that. Yeah, guys, if you have any questions at all, there you go. There's the link. Okay, cool. All right, thanks, guys. This was awesome. I'll see you next week. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. All right, bye.